Hi everybody, my name's Liz Rivera. I'm the Gem State Medium. Welcome back. Today I want to touch on a topic of what happens when you start to remodel and paranormal activity picks up. I guess we should kind of see, I got a message first off. I guess I should start that way. But I had gotten a message. I get several messages a week. I try to get to all of them, and I don't always. But this one came from a friend who had some personal friends of hers having, panic attacks, having issues because they had started to renovate their own new home they had purchased the year before, and all of a sudden all this paranormal activity was picked up, and they were panicked, not knowing what to do, weren't sure if they should have me come and help or check things out. And so I sent them some advice on what I thought that they could or should do, and I hope that that helps them. And so I thought I would just make this quick video and try to explain about, when you're buying a house and what happens if you do start renovating and then you find out your place is really haunted and things are picking up. Don't move, don't panic, it's gonna be fine. So I'll start off giving you a little bit of example about when you buy a home. I have to say, when you walk in the front doors, really pay attention to not just the aesthetics of a home and whether there's fresh paint and carpet, whether you like it, things like that. I mean, that is a huge thing. However, also stop for a minute and just kind of pay attention to how the place feels, because sometimes you can have the most bright, beautiful home in the world, and you walk in and it feels heavy and dark and yucky. But then we can get wrapped up in how pretty it is and not really understand or feel what's going on in the home. For instance, like I guess it was about 6-7 years ago, I was in the market for a home. At the time, it was just myself and my 3 kids. And we had gone to so many homes. The realtor had showed us a ton of homes over several days. And there were 2 homes that stuck out. And the first one that stuck out was, it was a nice basic home, brick home, seemed nice, yard was well kept, looked nice and cozy on the inside, but literally when you walked in the door, it felt like something was wrong. To me, it felt heavy, even though there was no drapes on the windows and it was bright in there. It was a sunny, warm day. It felt dark and heavy, and it felt like there was a presence or something there. That's how it came across to me. And I didn't say anything, just kind of looked around, didn't really venture into the kitchen and stuff because already I was hesitant. The realtor was kind of pushing, like, just go look and really check it out, because I'm like, I don't know that this is right. Started to go down the stairs to check out the finished basement, which he wanted us to look at. And we got halfway down the stairs, and my daughter, who is also a medium, she was about 15 at the time, and she got halfway down the stairs and was like, nope, I'm out. This isn't good. And I said, I absolutely agree. And we turned around, went up the stairs. The real estate agent stopped us and wanted to know what was wrong with this place. I think he was getting a little bit frustrated because I wasn't finding what I wanted. I tried to explain, didn't come across really well, but finally I just blurted out. I said, listen, I'm a medium. I see ghosts, I feel things like that, and there's something here, and I don't like it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the house per se, but it's got a bad vibe, a bad feeling, and I don't like it. And I think whoever buys this place is probably going to have a rough go of things. So we left. The next day, we went and started looking at some homes again. We actually happened to run across this house that I'm in now. It was kind of a fluke. It was out of my price range. And we had been looking at one across the street because the one across the street was more in my price range, and that one I could probably afford, but didn't care for that one either. There were too many things I needed to fix, and I was a single mom, so that was kind of out of the question. But anyway, we came into this house after some kind of, nudging of the realtor. I just want to see this one. And he said, well, they'd already dropped it, about $10,000, and it was still a little bit high for me, but I wanted to see anyway. We walked in the front door and I loved it. I mean, that was the house that I wanted, and my kids loved it. It had a good feeling to it. It felt good in here. As we walked around and looked at the house, and I was just falling more in love with all the little things that this family had done, to make it their own, the little quirky things. And it was a little dated, which was why they said they were having a hard time selling it. But I like a little different when I don't know, I just have a little different personality, I think. But as we got to walking around and looking, I realized that only the second time in all the houses that we've looked at over the few days that there was somebody following me. Figured it was a man, and older, but I didn't get a bad feeling at all. It was just like somebody else walking through the house with us looking at things, but I didn't, think he was bad at all. And in fact, I liked the house so much that even though I knew that it seemed to be haunted, that there was somebody here, it didn't affect my decision on wanting to buy this place. So as we were getting ready to walk out the door, I stopped in the doorway and I took a step back in the house, and the realtor, poor guy, was standing, kind of holding the screen door, and I stepped back in the entryway and I said out loud to the gentleman who had been following us that I really loved his home and what he had done with it, and that if he could help me get it, that I promised I would do everything I could to take care of it and love it as much as he did, and that I would respect, the everything that he had done, and would respect the house. And we left. I kind of smiled at the real estate guy, and he looked at me like I was totally not there, but that's fine. And we went back to his office to put a bid in, and I told him I needed to go down at least another $10,000 to be able to afford this home. And he said, I can't do that. He said, you need to go in with a real offer. You can't just go down another 10,000. They've already gone down, and they won't take you serious unless you put in a serious offer. And I said, that's my offer. Ask them. And after some back and forth a little bit, I finally convinced him to just call. I mean, really. Anyway, so we get a call back from those people's realtor, and my realtor guy hung up the phone and sat back in his chair and kind of shook his head, and he said, I've never seen anything like that. They said, okay, let's sell. Let's do this. And so I got my house, and I, got a price that I could afford, and that was great. My point, and the reason I'm telling you this story, is because there are good ghosts out there, and to not always just be afraid of them. When I asked him that, my thinking was at the time, if he had passed here, or, passed when this was still his home, because it wasn't a state home, I did know that part, that I just thought, if it were me, I would want somebody who was going to love and respect my house. And in fact, me asking him felt like maybe he could put a little bug in his family or kids' ears and maybe persuade them to sell it to me for the price that I could afford, to get somebody in that would be good to his house. And in my opinion, that's what happened. So I appreciate his help to get the house that I had wanted. Now, we have had a lot of activity in the house. And mind you, that was the first year or two that we lived here. We had a lot of activity. I really think that he was just, checking out coming and goings of people, who was here, who would always be here, who were the kids' friends, and things like that. And so it was a little more active in the beginning, and it has since really quieted down, and we hear and see things every once in a while, but it's not kind of a constant like we did when we first moved in. One of the first instances we had in the house was my boyfriend at the time, which is now my husband, but Craig was coming over to spend the night for the first time since I had moved in, and it had been about 2 weeks that I had been here. And he came over to spend the night, and we were laying in bed, the lights were out, and the bedroom door was shut. It was quiet, we were going to sleep, and all of a sudden he just shot up in bed and started feeling around the foot of the bed. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm feeling for a cat." I said, "Why are you feeling around for a cat?" And he said, "Because somebody just poked me in the back 3 times really hard." And it freaked him out. It kind of scared him. And me, I saw it a totally different way. I know he got poked, but that's not like the end all be all of, living in a haunted house. It wasn't malicious intent. I don't think he was happy I had a man sleeping over was the issue. And I think because that had been his room with his wife beforehand, when my husband came over and spent the night the first time, I think it kind of upset him. Like, who is this strange man in my bedroom? Or even with me. I don't know if he was trying to protect me or just thinking that was his room and nobody should be in bed, especially another man. So I thought that one was kind of cute. And by the way, it has never happened again. It was just the one time. And he let us know what he thought. So I respect that. 2015, I was looking through things. I was trying to think of different things where people were freaked out and panicked because of remodeling or renovating. And I had gotten a message to come out and please come see our house and let us know what's here, because we've got all this paranormal activity going on and it's really frightening us. I went out to their house. The house at the time in 2015 was 115 years old. What did I write down? I had to remember. Yeah, it was 115 years old farmhouse. Great house. And as I wandered around, I met an elderly man. Another one, but they seemed to get really attached to their property, their things they've worked so hard on, and I understand that. But as I was walking around in the house, I met this man. His wife was also there as well. But anyway, so as I went upstairs where they were kind of, they had boards and different things out where they were renovating upstairs, I kind of was able to communicate with him and see what was going on. And basically, he was the nicest guy, But what he was doing was trying to help. Like he was going to help the new owners to renovate. So when the guy would put his tape measure down and then go back to get it after, when he needed it again and it was gone, this older gentleman was simply like taking it and he was going to help. Or if things moved or fell or whatever. I mean, he really thought he was helping. So even though it frightened the family in the beginning, it really wasn't intentional. It was him trying to help. His wife was mainly downstairs and she just kind of wandered around and stuff. Just a nice little lady. She did tell me that when the way she was showing herself to me then, she looked like she didn't have much makeup on or anything, and then her hair was kind of flat and stuff. She said, I used to do my hair up all the time, before I passed. I think she'd gotten sick or something, but that's the way it came across anyway. Now, the funny part was, after I had done this reading of this house and the walkthrough, about a month later, well, after I'd done it, I did a sketch of the man and about him, and given it to the owners. I said, this is who's in your house, so they wouldn't be afraid and they have an idea of who it was. About a month later, the owner got a hold of me again and said that he was talking to their neighbor one day, and this is more of a rural area, so it would have been, kind of kitty corner and across the street in a field, whatever. Anyway, but he had been talking to her, and that he showed her the picture of the man that was in the house. And she said, I had to write this down to make sure I was right. She said, that looks like Grandpa Wilding. And then she wanted to know where he had gotten the photo and or the sketch of him. And he said, well, there was this medium that we brought in because all this stuff was happening, and this is the picture she drew of the gentleman she saw here. The lady left and came back a short time later with a picture of the grandpa that she wanted to know where he got the picture of. And I'll show you the picture, the side by side of my sketch and the picture of the gentleman that lived there. She also said that because when I saw him, he was in coveralls, blue coveralls, and he had on brown shoes that reminded me of something like out of the 20s or something, like just a pair of brown leather shoes or boots kind of that go up to like the ankle, that laced up. And anyway, that's what he was wearing. And she said in the picture that she brought over, he has on a suit. She said those were his church clothes. She said, but his everyday clothes were overalls. So that's how he was still presenting himself, was the way he was the most comfortable and what he always wore. So I thought that was interesting and kind of cool. And then later they sent me a picture of the wife, and that was pretty close as well. So that made me happy. I just really want to get across that, one, when you're looking to buy a house, of course we want to live in a place that we love and is beautiful and that we think is beautiful, or where we fit. But also take a minute to just kind of stop and feel how the house feels to you. And if something's not right or something, then you really need to reconsider that maybe this isn't the place. If it feels nice, but you think somebody might be there, then maybe it's going to be fine. Just like the place I ultimately found, even though I knew it was haunted, it was fine. And we've been here, what, 6-7 years now. So that all worked out fine. Just pay attention to more than just the aesthetics of a home. Take note of how it feels. And lastly, I would have to say that if you do start renovating and, you know, just updating, things like that, talk to the ghosts. If you have any sort of inkling that your house may have something there, before you start tearing out tile or, you know, ripping up carpet or repainting everything, just give a little shout out to the ghosts that may be there and let them know what you're doing. That you do love this house, but the tile needs updated maybe. Maybe the grout isn't good anymore and it could possibly cause a leak. So we need to take care of this. Just letting you know what we're doing. We want to keep the house in good shape. Or, you know, we need to put new paint on the walls because it's looking yucky and we want to keep it fresh and new. Let them know that you aren't out to just destroy things and you don't care or whatever, but there's reasons, and that you love the house and you want their house as well to continue to look nice. Things will calm down. You know, 9 times out of 10, communication is going to be your best strategy in all of this. And if things do get moved around and put different places, it could also be they're trying to help, which is really scary if you're not looking for random stuff to start moving on their own or disappearing. Sometimes that can be what it is as well. Now, whoops, I bumped the table. But also, you know, if you think like there's something bad in your house and you get a really dark, heavy feeling, and or it's scratching or biting or, you know, something scary or bad like that, then by all means, that's when you need to start looking for, you know, help, for people to come in and help you. And sometimes maybe you want somebody like me to come in just so you know who's living in your house, who your roommates are. You know, it's part of living in a haunted home or with somebody. So it can be done with some mutual respect. Feel free to talk to them, tell them. If you don't like it, tell them to please stop helping. Please just, I've got this. Tell them, you know, that scares me. Don't do that anymore. You can talk to them. Communication is the best. Anyway, I want to thank you for always coming back and watching my silly little videos, but I do hope they help. You guys take care and happy renovating. See ya. Bye.